I'm Chef Terry Reese, and this is Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. At the dinner table, meaningful conversations about school, work, and life support children and encourage them to succeed. Parent University and Believe to Become are proud to support our show today. Hi, I'm Chef Terry Reese, and welcome to Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. I'm at the Grand Rapids Public Schools commissary, where they make meals for all of the schools throughout the week. I've had a chance today to talk with Erica, who is with the Parent University, and we had a chance to discuss what she does for meals and what their favorite food is and what she hopes to pick up today. So let's take a listen on what we had to talk about. Hi, I'm Chef Terry Reese, and I'm here with Erica from Parent University with Grand Rapids Public Schools, and we are in the Grand Rapids Public Schools commissary, which is a great building that we have here. Erica is going to be joining me for one of my shows, and we're going to be working with stir fry. Have you ever done stir fry?
No, never.
Have you? What kind of stir fry have you had before?
Beef stir fry.
Beef? How'd you like to learn how to make chicken stir fry today?
That would be great.
Would it be?
Yes.
Do you like sweet and sour?
Yes, we do.
Well, that's good, because that's what we're going to be making today. But we were talking earlier, and you have 3 kids, right?
Yes.
And their names are?
My oldest is Bianca, my middle one is Brianna, and my youngest son is Saul.
And what's their favorite food that you cook?
Their favorite food is spaghetti.
Spaghetti, and we were
Yes.
talking, you do it with meatballs and with meat sauce.
And meat sauce, yes.
Okay, so any day there's spaghetti on the menu, they really love it.
Yes.
So what do they have a hard time eating sometimes? Vegetables?
Vegetables.
Oh, I think we'll get them eating some vegetables with this. So do you sit down at the dinner table every night and chat with them?
Yes, we do.
Do you? My mom and dad, we did that all the time, and we always were like, had to come up with something. So what's your favorite question to ask your kids?
I like to ask them how their day went, if there was any issues, pretty much just how school was, because I want to know, I want to be able to keep tabs on them on what they're doing in school.
That's great. My mom and dad did that, and my husband and I do that right now, because that's the one time we get everybody around the table, and that's where you kind of figure out where everything's going and you have a lot of fun. What's your favorite holiday meal to make?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is
Yes.
coming up. What's your favorite dish?
Turkey. That's my specialty.
That's your specialty?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you stopped by and we had this little chat. We're going to be coming up pretty soon, and I hope to see you in a little bit. Thanks
Okay.
a lot for joining me here.
Thanks.
Well, thanks, Erica. I was glad to chat with you. Today we're working on stir fry, which can be a meal process in itself, which is something that is very quick and very easy to do. It's really basically a mixture of sauce, it's a mixture of veggies, and it's a mixture of meat. And you can use any combination that you want. Today we're going to be working with a sweet and sour chicken stir fry. And what I have started first is some rice. And I've got my pan going here, and I have 2 cups of liquid in here. It happens to be chicken stock. It could be water, it could be vegetable rice. And I'm going to put in 1 cup of brown rice. We chose to use brown rice because it's a little bit healthier. It has all the endosperm on it. It's not quite as dry as the other type of rice. But if you didn't like brown rice, you could use white rice, or you could try some of the other noodles that are out there. We have some rice noodles that you could try with it. You could use spaghetti noodles. You could use anything at all that you wanted that's in your cupboard. So what I'm doing now is I'm heating up a wok pan. This is a specialized pan used for stir fry. You see them all over the place. And then you're saying, but Chef Terry, I don't own a wok pan. Do I have to have one? No, you can use a frying pan. You want to use a shallow pan. You don't want a tall pan. You use the shallow pan so that you can get disperse your heat equally with it. So don't go out and buy a pan. Go ahead and use a pan that you already have. So this pan is sitting here and it's getting hot, and I have peanut oil over here. We use peanut oil because it has a high smoking point, other than butter that would burn or olive oil. If you don't have peanut oil, you know, another vegetable oil or a canola oil would work. And I'm just going to drizzle a little bit in here, because what I really want to start off with is my garlic. So while that's getting hot, I'm going to dice up a little bit of garlic that I have here. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this flow in some pieces. And this is going to be the basis of my sauce. And you can hear that sizzle, so I'm going to turn that down just a little bit, because really what I'm going to do is flavor the oil. Now my sauce is going to be a combination of brown sugar, good old ketchup, some rice wine vinegar, and some chicken stock. And I'm also going to put a little bit of ginger in there. Now that's pretty well done its work. It doesn't take very long, and I'm going to scoop out as much of this as I can, and we will go from there. So what I'm going to do is add in some rice wine vinegar, like I said, my brown sugar. Now moms, if you think half a cup of brown sugar is too much, you can always reduce that. This is one of those things where if you want to reduce the sugar or the salt, that's easily done. And I'm going to add in about a cup of chicken stock. And I'm going to let that come up to a boil. Stir it around a little bit so that everything gets used up very good. That's pretty much my sauce, other than wanting to add in a little bit of pineapple in my ketchup that I have here. You can use any kind of ketchup you want. I know, it's a cheat, isn't it? Most people already have it in your cupboard. I'm going to go ahead and put that up here. I'm going to let that go. Now I have some ginger here that I started peeling. And you can peel ginger, which is fresh like this, using a spoon. Basically, you just go ahead and take the spoon, peel off the wood part of it, and then you can dice it any way that you want. Now, one of the things that the first time I bought ginger, I was very confused. I'm going to move this over here just a little closer. There we go. Because sometimes I only need a tablespoon of ginger, and you see these big pieces like this or like this. And when I was really young, I didn't realize that all I had to do was break off a piece and then go ahead and take it out to the checkout counter, because that's what you can do with it. They expect you to do that. Fresh ginger is one of the best things. I'm going to go ahead and slice up some, and then I'm going to do just a quick mince on it. And for this, I always use my chef's knife. I know a lot of people will use different knives, but once I learned how to use a chef's knife, that was all that it took. Now I'm going to add that into there. Okay. One of the things we like to do is prep all of our vegetables, and then I'll prep my meat, and then I'll finish up with my sauce and combine them. So let's go ahead and work on the vegetables while this sauce is going here. Can you smell it? Smell pretty good? Stir that up. Now I happen to have these strainers. I don't actually have the wok tools, but I own these, and I thought, why not use them? I'm one of those types of people that if I have it, I want to own it, I'll use it. And I'm also going to add in some pineapple for some sweetness. That's where you get some of your sweet and sour too. That will go. We'll just let it go, and then I am going to work on the vegetables. I've already cut up some summer squash and some zucchini, and now I have a pepper to do, and I have some Chinese cabbage, and I have some celery. And I cheated. I bought shredded carrots already, okay? So you can go ahead and buy your vegetables whole. You can go to the grocery stores and you can buy them already cut if you want. You could shred your carrots using a grater or some other tool. I bought them this way. So here I got some a piece of cabbage. This is Chinese cabbage. It's a quarter of a cabbage. And if you've noticed, I've kept all of my sides together. The reason for that is I'm able to go through and cut it all together, and it won't go all over my board. So I'm going to just cut down. And if you can tell, The whole thing is edible until I get down to about the core, and I'm going to leave that out over here. So I have my shredded cabbage. Should use my handy dandy little bench knife there. Now I have some celery and it has the leaves on it. Most people don't realize that you can eat the leaves. They're edible. So if you're like my mom was growing up as kids, I'm just going to cut off the dried ends of it. I'm going to gather it all together. Now if this was a whole head of celery, I would keep the root attached so that I wouldn't have to hold on to it if I needed all of it. I do the same with bunches of broccoli, or if you get asparagus with the rubber bands on it, you can put a rubber band over it and hold it into place, and then it doesn't go all over your board whatsoever. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And one of the things that you do when you're cutting, you want to make sure that you always keep your knife tip on the board, and that way you'll learn how to cut a little bit quicker, and it's always a little safer. And you do want to keep your fingers away from everything. So there I've got celery. Now the celery and the ends to the cabbage are about the same, so I'm going to go put them in there. And I've chosen a red pepper for today. Now one of the great things about doing stir fry is you can incorporate all the different colors. The more colors you have in your vegetables, the more nutritious your food is. And also it's pleasing to the eyes, so you'll be able to use it. Get your kids to eat it a little bit easier. So one of the ways I can do this is just take this pepper and just cut down through the center. And I can use these ends for something else. It's pretty easy if I want to, but I'll move those over there. And then I can dice or julienne these, put them into strips. This is the one time where the wobbling, I always put the round edge down because a knife is very hard sometimes to go through. Let's see if my knife will. It'll go through okay. Some knives, if they're not sharp, have a hard time going through. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut these into a dice. Okay, go ahead, we'll put that in there. Starting to look pretty colorful. The next thing I'm going to add in is some onion. Like onion, don't like onion, you can put it in or leave it out. But I'm going to put it in. And this onion is just a half of an onion, and I'm going to do the trick where I let the onion do the work for itself. If you notice, I've kept the root again attached to it. This way it holds everything together. My hand's flat, and I'll go through and do a few cuts. And then I'll go down, turn it around, keep my knife tip on the board, and just dice through. And then just finish up any old way on the edges of it. So now I have all my prep done for my vegetables. And my sauce has been going for a while, so I'm going to thicken it up. So what I have here is a slurry. A slurry, watch, I'll get it all over me. A slurry is a little bit of cornstarch and water that's mixed together, and it'll help you thicken your sauce. Cornstarch thickens at about 177 degrees, which means you don't have to bring it all up to a boil. Let's see if I can get this going. I had it setting for a while. There we go. Get your kids to do this and play with it. They get their hands in it. It's always fun. We used to drive my mom crazy. Go ahead, and then I'm going to temper it by putting the hot into the cold. I'm not going to use all of this. We'll see what I need, but probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons. And I don't know if anybody can see that or not, but it automatically just thickened right up. So what I'm going to do is 2 different things. Bring my bowl over here. You can hear it bubbling, right? And then I'm going to bubble right on me there. Then I'm going to give it a taste. little salt and pepper. I mix my salt and pepper together. This is where you control what you have in it. I'm going to take this off the heat and put it in my sauce bowl. Now what I'm going to do next is stir fry out my vegetables. Check my rice. It's done. That didn't take very long because we started it beforehand. Add in a little bit more peanut oil. I still have a little sauce in there, so these will get all saucy. Start with those and we'll just let it go. And one of the nice things is I've got a handle and I'm able to just move things around however I want it to be. Okay, now while that's going, we're going to easily go over now, we're going to cut some chicken. And we're going to talk about how that gets done, but I want to clean up my area a little bit because it's always better to have a nice clean area to work with. I'm going to move this over here. Take my chicken down. Now I have this shelf paper, and that helps keep my board from slipping. And I have some great chicken here. This is a Smart Chicken. It's organic and it's sustainable. And I have a mixture of dark and white meat here. And I'm going to tell you something that will probably surprise you. I don't want you to wash your chicken before you use it. Just pat it dry. If you put your chicken in the sink and you start to wash it, what happens is you just spread all that salmonella over everything. And then you got to really clean everything off. I know you're thinking, really? She's going to do that and touch it? Yep, I am. And I'm just going to cut these into some strips, the same way that I was doing the other one. I patted this dry. You always want to have dry chicken, dry meat to work with because you don't want it to steam in the pan. Got a little bit here. Cut it up and then go over here. Leave that out. I'm going to take this, add in my zucchini in that. I'm going to add in my carrot, and go back over here. Okay, so now my chicken's cut. Pretty easy, right? Pretty quick. Now I do remember, yep, I do have some hand sanitizer over here, so none of you will worry about that. So now I'm just going to work on this part, and I'm going to keep working it till it's almost done. I happen to like my veggies crunchy. Crunchy is how I like to get it, and it works pretty good. If you like your veggies cooked farther through, you can cut them smaller, or you can just cook them a little bit longer. Okay, those are pretty well done. Again, I'm going to take up my pan, set it over here, and then add my veggies here. Now, it's hot, but they will continue to cook. Kind of pretty, isn't it? Go back on my heat. If you notice, I'm working on Bunsen burners. What that means really is you can use any heat source that you want. You could do this on a grill. You could do it wherever you think is best for it. So just because you don't have a certain pan or a certain heat source, you could do it on electric, gas, doesn't really matter. My pan's been hot all along, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in my chicken. And then I'm going to move this over here again. And take my cutting board that hasn't had chicken and do it. Now, if you're at home and you don't have 2 or 3 cutting boards, I happen to own a bunch, but if you don't, make sure that you start with your vegetables and everything, and then go to your chicken and then add it in here, because you don't want to cross-contaminate. And if your cutting board gets a little dirty while you're working with it, all you got to do is do a flip, as long as you don't have chicken on it. So I'm going to stir this around, and this is where the stir fry comes in. You want to make sure that we can get this cooked all the way through and on the edges. And I'm going to salt and pepper this. I want to season that as best I can. Now, because the chicken is cut into smaller pieces, it's going to cook faster. And what you want to do is cook it till it gets to 165 degrees. And if you don't have a thermometer or look at it, you want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through, that it's not pink, and that the juices run clear. So if you poke into it, it's all broken up, it's not pink anywhere through it. Okay, that's going good. Got my edges nice in the pan. I'm going to add my vegetables back in so that they can continue to cook. I'm going to add my sauce. Stir it up. So in about 20 minutes, I have dinner. Now I need to cook my chicken a little farther, and here it is. All I got to do is put a cover on top of that and let it simmer just a little bit. So in about 20 minutes, we had a stir-fry dinner that was already done. Yes, I cheated a little bit on the vegetables, but you know, I'm busy too, and it's easy to make your own sauce. Now, if you wanted to, you could buy a pre-made sauce. You just want to check the sodium and the sugar contents for it, because they could be higher or lower than what you want. It's 6 to 1, half a dozen the other version of it. Now, one of the things that I want to show you is, let me get a plate. And I have my rice over here that's already done. So I'm going to take some rice and set it down nice and easy in the center of my plate. And I have some sauce that is already done. Because I want to make sure that chicken's right where it needs to be. So there you have a great version of sweet and sour chicken. Now, I have different vegetables here that you use. You can use any vegetables that you like. You could use cauliflower and broccoli. You could put in water chestnuts. It's not a vegetable, but you could put that in. You could do anything along those lines. Now, one of the things I want to tell you is, growing up, we always used to make extra rice as kids, because the next day, my mom would take the rice, she would add some milk to it and some honey or sugar, and we would have puffed rice. She would warm it up, and it was a way to use the leftover rice and have something warm, especially when it's starting to get a little cool like it is. So does anybody have any quick questions that they have? Yeah.
Why did you choose to use the Japanese cabbage versus just the regular head of cabbage?
Why did I use, I'm going to repeat the question. Why did I use the Japanese cabbage versus the regular head? Because it was Japanese or Chinese stir fry, and they had a really nice one in the store. You could use regular cabbage. You could use that if you wanted, or none at all. I do have some bok choy here. You see this a lot in there. It's kind of similar. It would work the same way. You could use any that you want. You can make this your own meal. Anybody else? Yeah.
So if you buy the whole big piece of ginger and just break off a piece to cook with,
Mm-hmm.
how long is that the rest of it good for?
This will probably last about a week in your refrigerator in the one of the drawers. So I wouldn't buy too much of it. I've not had luck freezing it, though some people do. So here we've got it in about 25 minutes. We've done a chicken stir fry. We have the rice. We have a sauce made from scratch where you will know how much salt and sugar and everything else went into it. And you have a pretty good meal to last you for almost for a few days if you're like me. And you made it yourself. So I don't know about you, but I'm about ready to eat. I want to thank everybody for joining me today for Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. I'm Chef Terry Reese. Special thanks to Smart Chicken for providing the chicken. Thanks to my crew and everybody else. You can follow me at www.chefterryreese.com or on Facebook. Thanks a lot for joining me. Thanks for watching today's show, Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. Remember, at the dinner table, much love is expressed. Life-giving conversations encourage children to believe in their unlimited potential, embrace high expectations, and seize every opportunity to achieve success in school, work, and life. Learn more about Believe to Become at ibelievebecome.org.